everybody, this is Lonnie. Thanks for coming back. This is the first of what may be, depending on how this goes, projects that you can do on your own. There are beginners stuff that you can do with Recreate Make It software, but I wanted something that that people could do that has something a little more tangible, something that when they're done they can actually use, and something that beginners can get a grasp on fairly easy. So to that end, we're going to throw this out there, see how it works. Alright, first off, what you're going to be making are these little holders. These I made for remote controls because I'm always losing mine. Basically, the remote control will slip in the top and you can mount them anywhere to do whatever. You can make them for remote controls, you can make them for your phones, you can make them for calculators, you can make them for eyeglasses, whatever you can think of. Just a holder to stick in there to do whatever. Make simple modifications to it. It's a very versatile thing, and it's going to be quick and easy to do, so we'll do that. You're going to do it to an existing item. You're going to need to take measurements and stuff. So what I've done is I've created this sheet. Now, if you have access to the video, you can do it with a video. If you don't have access to the video, you can do step by step down here. But the first thing that you need to do is get your measurements for whatever it is that you're doing. Now, when you do that, you can do it a couple different ways. You can take a calculator or a ruler, take your measurements. I prefer the calipers. This is a digital caliper. You get them at Harbor Freight or any place like that. But what's nice about it, you turn it on, and then you go take your measurement. Here's my width measurement, 45.1. Quick and easy to use. There's a button you can push that automatically switches from millimeters to inches. And it's kind of handy. But what you do is you fill out this portion with all your numbers, and once that's done, these are the pieces that you need to make. And we'll switch over to the computer here and make them in just a second. But basically, you go through, you sit down and take maybe 5 minutes to do your measurements. Sit down at the computer, and in another 5 minutes, you should be done with drawing up on the computer, if not faster. Quick, easy, simple to do. And once you got it down, then you can start modifying it and make it look fancy and do whatever you want. But I'll get my measurements, and then I'll get back to it, and we'll start doing some other stuff. Okay, I've got all the math and stuff done. Let me go over this section here where it says insert your measurements. These, if you get these, the more accurate these are, the better off you're going to be. And these will transform over the other. First line says keypad. This portion right here. If you're using, say your phone, it's top of the screen, bottom of the screen, left of the screen, right screen. The calculator, it would be the top to the bottom, left to the right. And you can play around with that too. But and this diagram here has got the little letters on it. PL, which is pad length 140, pad width 38.3, wood thickness 3.4. Then the actual next line is for the overall dimensions of the entire device. Length 171.5, width 45, height 19.6, and then there's a PO1 and a PO2 dimensions. PO1 at the top is from the last part of the pad to the top of the remote. That's PO1. PO2 is from the bottom of the last button to the bottom of the remote, or the bottom of wherever your device is. That's the other measurement. Then I did it in millimeters, and this extra is free space. if you take the dimensions and you make a box that fits these dimensions, sliding it in and out of the box is going to be a pain. So you pick a number. I found that 3 to 5 usually works, but you can adjust it how you want. That gives you enough free space, front, back, left, right, to be able to pull it in and out of the box. I'll pull this up close to the camera so you can kind of see how I did the dimensions. Okay. Okay, then we move over to the worksheet. At first glance, you look at this worksheet and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to ever do that? It's not that hard. You just plug in the numbers, and you do a little adding, and that's about all you got to do. In step 1, you take the width, and then you add the wood thickness twice, and then you add your extra, and you put your number in. The second one is the length of it plus your wood thickness, and you get your number. And as you see, that input transfers right over and fills in another square, so you only got to do the math once if you want. And then A and B are the same, so when you go to make them, you can just cut and paste. Make one square the right dimensions and then cut and paste it. Step 2, you do the math, and then the first measurement you get on step 2 transfers down into step 3, so there's really not a lot there. But if you plug in all the numbers at once, you don't have to jump back and forth. I found it's just as easy to get it all out of the way, and then you move on from there. I'm going to move over to the computer. We'll do the software portion of it, and we'll get you back underway. Okay. If I didn't mention this before, the papers are on the We Create official web Facebook page in the file section. I don't know if I said that or not. Okay, so here we've got a blank screen on Make It, and we're going to go into the steps in order to do it. First, you're going to click on Rectangle, and come over to your workspace, and you just draw one. Doesn't matter what size. Once it's there, up here at the top where it says Scale, you go to your worksheet and you look at the numbers. The width is going to be 54.8, and the height is going to be 174.9. And that is our first piece. And it's part A. We need a part B that's the exact same size. You can either do the whole thing again, or you can highlight it, right click, copy, click off of it, right click, paste, and there you go. You get 2 identical size pieces. The next, you got to draw a square. For the next sets of parts, we're going to draw a square. And then we got to type in the dimensions for it. On the piece of paper, we look at the dimensions. The width of this is going to be 26. And the length of this is going to be 174.9. Again, these are the numbers on mine. Look at your worksheet. This is step 2. You just plug in your numbers. Okay, so there we have another square. That is part C. And we need 2 part C's, so we're going to click copy, click paste, and there you go. Now we move on to step 3. We're going to draw a square. Common thread, huh? Click on it and enter our dimensions for step 3. On step 3, our width is 26. And our height is 48.4. And there you go. And the next one we're going to do another square. And our dimensions on that. This is step 4. Are 38.3 wide by 147.6. Enter. And there is that piece. So A, B, C, D, E, F are the part numbers. This is the back. This is one side. This is the other side. This is the bottom. And then this is the size of your cutout. So what we need to do is we need to make the cutout and the front merge together with each other. So to do that, we're going to take this piece, we're going to set it on top of the first one, and where you set it on it doesn't really matter. Once it's on top of it, you highlight both of them. When they're highlighted, you come up to align the top, and that'll bring them together at the top. Then you click align again, and you do horizontal centering. And now they're together. Well, actually they're not together, they're sitting on top of each other. So what you want to do is you want to make them one piece. You hit merge and subtract, and what that has done is that has made that rectangle a U. So that's going to be the front piece, and this is where you can stick your hand in there and slide in that remote or whatever it is that you're doing. That's it. That's all the pieces you got to do. So the next thing that you got to do is you got to prepare everything for printing, and I'll be right back and we'll start doing that. Okay, so now we're going to set this up for printing. I put a piece of wood in the machine, turned it on. Now I'm going to hit refresh, and there's the piece of wood that I've got put in the machine. I'm going to select my pieces, bring them on over to the wood, and then I can move these around to minimize waste. Like take this piece and bring it over here and stick it in there. I can bring them closer together. Take this one here, slide it up underneath here, and then the front piece is about the only piece that you're going to see. If you want to decorate that up, I'll click on here, put text on it. Like I said, that is the only one that the rest of them are pretty much covered up. Okay, once you do this, you're going to highlight everything, hit cut, put in whatever dimensions you want to put in there. We're using basswood, it's kind of soft. You don't need the 2 passes, it'll do it in one. The only exception to that is where we put when we typed in Visio, we want that to be something I would do fill on it. It's basswood. We'll make it that. Okay, now she's ready to go. What we'll do is we'll autofocus on it. We'll do autofocus, print, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've got the pieces cut out. Here they are. And before we go any further, we're going to make sure we did everything right. So we're going to do a dry fit. Basically, you're going to make sure that when you put these together here at the bottom, they go all the way from side to side. And they do. You know, make sure when these are outside where they're supposed to be, that the piece fits in there. It does. And you're going to make sure that the top is that this lays down inside. So if you're on this cross top like that, it doesn't hit. So you know that's good. So when we glue all this together, we should be good to go. We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and glue it up on here. It's easy enough to do, but we're gonna do it here anyways. After you glue it, you need some way to hold it together so that it doesn't slip and slide and end up being off center or whatever. So I'm gonna get my glue jig and I'll be right back. Okay, this is my jig that I used to glue stuff up with, and basically all it is some a little bit thicker wood, and then when I cut it out, I had them cut holes in it, 1/4-inch bolts, and then so you bolt it down, washer, and then these screw thingies. With stuff like this, you don't need a lot of pressure when you do it, so this works just fine. Okay, we got my glue here. This is the glue that I use. I got it at Walmart. It's quick and thick multi-surface glue. You can do this for anything that's going to be done inside. It being a thicker glue makes it a lot less messy, and it glues. It's supposed to set up faster. So basically we're going to take our piece and we're going to run a little bit of glue on it. You don't have to go overboard on it, just a little bit. You got that on it. Take a Q-tip and spread it out. Use the back end of the glue tip, take anything off the side. Okay, we've got this. And it's going to go right on the edge of the other board. Another nice thing about this being thick like this is it holds it up. If you did this with like an Elmer's glue, chances are it'd just fall over and you wouldn't stay. So we're going to do the same thing on this one. Depending on the project or what you got, you could just as easily use double sticky tape on this because it's not holding a lot of weight. It's just holding it together. Alright, this piece here is going to go in here, so we're going to put it across the sides and the bottom. Stick it in, twist it, and fold it into place. Okay, the bottom's pretty much going to stay in place. The top here, you get keep watch it because right now it's going like this. But if you're not careful and you glue it up and it goes like this, now your remote control is not going to fit. So you just got to keep an eye on that. Once we've got all those set and where it needs to be, we can come across and do the top. Okay, now before you put the top on, you look inside here across the bottom. If you got a little extra glue seeping out, you can run a Q-tip across it and get it up. Okay, now we're going to put the top on. line it up to where we want it. Push it down. Get some of the glue seep out. Okay, now if you want any glue that's seeping out, you can hit with a Q-tip before you stick it in the jig. If you got a lot and you want to get it, you can use a wet Q-tip. It works too. Okay, so we're glued up, we're ready to go. We just need something to hold it together until it's done. Pull in the jig. Set that there. Put the top on it. Washers. Okay, we've got it all in there. Tying these up to where it's adding a little bit of downward pressure to it. You may have to hold the bottom of the bolt right to the top. But she's in there and she's set. And the nice thing about this jig is if I got more glue sticking it, coming out, seeping out the outside, I can hit it with a Q-tip and get it off there when it's in the jig. Okay, we're going to let that set up for a little bit and we'll come back and check it out when it's done. Okay, some time has passed and we're going to check it out and see how everything turned out. And here is our finished piece. Grab the remote for the grand moment of truth. Fits in there just fine. Other things that you can do is, right now, to get it out, I just put my thumb on it, slide it up, pull it out. Some people like to grab it at the top. If you do, you can just, when you're cutting it up, make this a little shorter so the top sticks out like that, and you can grab it and pull it out that way. However you want to do it. Some people want to put cross pieces across here. Once you get the basics down, sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. So that's that. My edges turned out pretty smooth. I don't think I have to sand it. I think it's good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it. Okay, there you go. Finished. Pecan satin poly shades, stain and polyurethane in one. Stuff works pretty good. Slides in, we'll be able to hang it, and we'll be able to do it. Share, like, comment, subscribe, along with all my other videos. I hope that helps, and we'll see how this one goes, and maybe I'll make some more.